MMA Math would say that Jennifer Maia is going to win this fight, but we can't play that game with Fight Night picks. As always, one half your host, Craig Alen. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Craig Alen FNP. With me to my left, to your right, Matt Allen. You can find him on the respective socials at Matt Allen FNP. And Matt, in this flyweight showcase, we have a couple of top-ranked women who've competed for the title, and Jennifer Maia and Evil Jessica Eye, or Jessica Evil Eye. That's what it is. For Jessica Eye, 2-3 in her last 5. For Jennifer Maia, 3-2 in her last 5. I lost to Joanne Calderwood, and Jennifer Maia beat Calderwood to get her shot at the belt, and then happened to win a round against the champion. Not something that happens very often. She's an elite company that way, I guess, with none other than Yana Jędrzejczyk, if we want to play that game. But I look at this fight as a little bit of a clash of styles. Jessica Eye, she brings in the foundations that she was able to build at Strong Style while now working in Vegas, where she's been for the past number of years. And she strikes. And she strikes. And she strikes. And lately she's been competing in some grappling tournaments. Maybe not winning as many as she'd like, but she has been at least trying to round out her game, especially at 34. She's a few weeks shy of her 35th birthday. For Jennifer Maia, coming in here at 32, representing Monstro MMA and Shoot the Box. So for Maia, you get a little bit of the striking, but she definitely does a lot of her work on the ground when she has a lot of success, like she did against the champion in that title fight.
This is a really interesting fight, and what should be an entertaining matchup. Now, for Jessica, I know I've been critical of her in the past, so I'm just going to sum up her game very simply. She has a very basic boxing style, although the commentary team is going to talk a lot about her boxing. They're going to say, "Gotta watch out for this woman's boxing, she's got combinations, she's got power." Forget what they just told you, you don't need to remember that. She's a weird fighter in that they're going to talk a lot about her boxing, but offensively, she just tried to use her wrestling a lot, especially up against the cage. And I know we talked about the clinch a lot in her fight against Calderwood, and it was a weird fight because Jessica Eye goes into the fight saying, "I know Calderwood's good in the clinch, but she's not going to be ready for me." Proceeds to get lit up in the clinch multiple times by Joanne Calderwood, and just keeps on getting in the same position over and over and over and over again. And listen, I know what the definition of insanity is. It's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And for Jessica Eye, that was what her game plan was. It was, I'm going to strike my way into the clinch. I'm going to strike my way into the clinch against the best clinch striker in the division. It was just a really weird game plan going into that fight.
Is that when you change your nickname from Evil to Insane? Or maybe like you go with like Vince Sanity?
I don't. She's going to have to switch something up. Because, again, you say no. She's lost 2 in a row and hasn't looked very good as of late. And the thing about Jessica Eye is that her game hasn't evolved that much since she was at bantamweight. This is the thing about Jessica Eye. She even admits it. She goes, "I knew my problem at bantamweight was the weight. It wasn't my skill set. Not a thing I ever want to hear." And then when she went back down to 125, she was like, "Okay, now I'm fighting women who are my size. It's not going to be that big of an issue." I still remember Jessica Eye's first fight at the flyweight division. She fought a lady by the name of Kalindra Fahea, who is no longer in the UFC, did not have the best career. She head kicked Jessica Eye, hurt her in the first round, and probably beat her by decision. She ends up losing that fight. Jessica Eye wins by split decision, and then it sets her off on her kind of win streak that gets her to the title. For Jennifer Maia, I gotta be honest, I didn't really like her game up until she did fight for the title. And I shouldn't even say that. Going into the fight with Calderwood, I just had a lot of question marks. I understand Calderwood struggles with offensive heavy grapplers, but I still thought Calderwood's takedown defense would be enough to at least get her by in that fight. Immediately when that fight went to the mat, you could tell who the better grappler was. Like, Jennifer Maia really is that chick at this division. She is the Paul Craig of the women's flyweight division, if you will, where when you are on the mat, she is that submission threat that you do really have to worry for. And maybe I put a little bit too much stock into her beating Valentina for that one round. I can openly admit that. I change my opinion every day. But she did look terrible in that fight. She was one of the few women who left a Valentina Shevchenko fight and made Shevchenko at least look human. We didn't leave that fight thinking Shevchenko could still beat Amanda Nunes at 135. We left that fight thinking, hey, Shevchenko still has some more work to do, and we'll see what happens in the future. For me, though, I just look at Jennifer Maia as being the much more championship-ready fighter. When I still think of Jennifer Maia and her career moving forward, I still look at her in number 1 contender fights, in title fights moving forward. Whereas with Jessica Eye, she's done a lot of big things in the sport, and she's been around in this division for a long time. I just think it's sort of time for the newer breed in Jennifer Maia.
It is a tricky fight, especially stylistically. Like you said, if Jessica Eye's closing the gap, is she able to pop, and then back out, or is she gonna want to clinch like she did against Calderwood? And for Maia, it's weird. You look at it, you lose to Caitlin Chookagian, and I know a lot of people, there might be some shine off of that one, but like, Caitlin Chookagian's a tricky fighter to beat. She really is, or she wouldn't be at the top of this division where she is. And then you lose to Liz Carmouche, and listen, I get it. Say what you will. Liz Carmouche looked pretty good against Watanabe in her last fight just a few weeks ago. And Carmouche is a game fighter who deserved to be in the UFC, and the way that they cut her was absolutely disgraceful. But if you look at it for Maia, former Invicta champ, going back to 2017, a couple of wins over Roxanne Modafferi, big names coming up too. I mean, Sheila Gaff, Vanessa Porto, over with Bellator, Leslie Smith, Deanna Bennett as well. So if you do like Maia, there's a lot of parts and parcels to her game that you'd like to talk about. If you look at the odds for this one, Maia opened a -175. She's -195 right now. Jessica Eye opened somewhere around a +150. She's a +161 right now on best fight odds. And if we have a look at the total votes, not much of a surprise. 1,411 total votes on Tapology. 89% Maia, 80% by decision for the 11% that have Eye, 76% by decision. Maybe you like the decision prop in this one. I mean, Jessica Eye, of her losses, Calvillo by decision, Calderwood by decision, Shevchenko head kick was the last knockout. Maybe you like it to go that far, but I'm just going to stick with Jennifer Maia in this one. Again, we talk about a complete game. Maia definitely has that. As long as she can work on a little bit of her head movement and continue to improve on her cardio, I think Jennifer Maia will still be here to stay up the top of the division.
I couldn't sum it up any better myself.
All right, well, I certainly appreciate that. It was very nice of you. Let us know down below in the comments section who you have in this premier women's flyweight fight. Both of us going with Brazil's Jennifer Maia to get the win. I can't wait for this weekend's fights. UFC 264, Poirier, McGregor. In the co-main event, Matt, Gilbert Burns, Wonderboy Thompson. What's the secret of Wonderboy's powers? We're going to find out. You're not going to want to miss those videos. Keep locked in with Fight Night Picks, as we always say. Let's get into it.